1. Dragon Quest VII Remake rumors. Square Enix's next revamp on a smaller scale. 2. Rumor. Dragon Quest VII Remake in the works by Square Enix for 2026. 3. Dragon Quest VII Remake leaked for PS5? Release date, rumors, and what we know. 4. Square Enix remakes Dragon Quest VII, 2026 release and gameplay teaser. 5. Dragon Quest VII Remake confirmed? Jason Schreier weighs in. 1. Dragon Quest VII Remake rumors. Square Enix's next revamp on a smaller scale. Square Enix might be quietly working on a remake of Dragon Quest VII, Fragments of the Forgotten Past, but don't expect it to be as grand or groundbreaking as the Final Fantasy VII Remake. This is where things get interesting. While the project seems genuine, the scope appears far more modest and measured. Jason Schreier, a journalist from Bloomberg well known for his reliable insider information in the gaming industry, has hinted at this remake's existence, though he emphasized it won't be a massive overhaul like we saw with Final Fantasy VII. The conversation began after a report suggested a Dragon Quest VII Remake might be releasing in 2026. Schreier chimed in to clarify Square Enix's broader strategy, saying, I think it's safe to say that Square wants to remake as many Dragon Quest titles as possible for modern platforms. That doesn't mean all of them will get the kind of ambitious reinvention that Final Fantasy VII Remake had. When a fan shared excitement about Dragon Quest VII being a personal favorite, Schreier subtly confirmed the remake by replying, I didn't say there's no remake. A cryptic but telling acknowledgement that the project is indeed underway. This development fits into Square Enix's recent trend of revitalizing classic Dragon Quest games for today's hardware. For instance, the company is gearing up to launch Dragon Quest I and II HD 2D Remake this October, which will remake the series' earliest entries with a fresh visual style that blends retro charm and modern polish. This is part of a strategy aimed at both longtime fans eager to revisit beloved titles and newcomers curious about the franchise's roots. For context, Dragon Quest VII originally debuted on PlayStation in 2000 in Japan and came to North America as Dragon Warrior 7 the following year. It stood out for its exceptionally long gameplay and a deep, varied class system. Interestingly, it was the top-selling PlayStation game in Japan, moving over 4 million copies. The story revolves around a brave group of adventurers who explore ancient ruins and get sent back in time to different islands, where they must solve problems in each era to restore those worlds in their present timeline. Although the game received a remake for the Nintendo 3DS in 2013, later localized for English-speaking players in 2016, fans have long hoped for a version tailored to today's consoles. The current rumors suggest this upcoming remake won't feature dramatic visual or gameplay changes like the Final Fantasy VII Remake did. Instead, it's expected to be a more straightforward remaster, offering polished graphics and quality-of-life improvements while preserving the classic experience. Square Enix has not officially announced any Dragon Quest VII Remake yet, but Schreier's comments add substantial credibility to these rumors. Considering the company's ongoing efforts with multiple Dragon Quest remakes, it increasingly looks like Dragon Quest VII could be the next to receive a refreshed release. The big question remains, will Square Enix choose to play it safe with a modest update, or surprise fans with something more ambitious? What do you think? Should remakes strive to reinvent classics completely, or is a faithful, careful polish the better way to honor these iconic games? Share your thoughts below and join the conversation. 2. Rumor. Dragon Quest VII Remake in the works by Square Enix for 2026. Warning. A new chapter might be on the horizon for Dragon Quest fans. Rumors are swirling that Square Enix is working on a full remake of the classic Dragon Quest VII, Fragments of the Forgotten Past, originally released in 2000. If these whispers prove true, it would continue the trend of rejuvenating beloved titles from the Dragon Quest series for today's gaming platforms. For those unfamiliar with its legacy, the Dragon Quest franchise has thrived since its debut in 1986, boasting 11 main entries that have captivated fans across multiple generations. From its humble origins on the NES to its latest adventures on the PS5, the series has shown impressive longevity. The most recent installation, Dragon Quest XI, was launched back in 2017, and the excitement kept growing with the release of the Dragon Quest III HD 2D Remake in 2024. Looking ahead, a compilation featuring the first two Dragon Quest titles is poised to receive an HD 2D overhaul later in 2025, ensuring that both longtime fans and newcomers have something to look forward to. But here's where it gets controversial. While Dragon Quest XII is still under wraps and the HD 2D remake of Dragon Quest III reshapes our understanding of the series' legacy, rumors suggest that a true remake of Dragon Quest VII is taking shape. According to internal documents spotted by MP1ST, this remake is aiming for a release window between January and March 2026, or possibly early in the following fiscal year if everything remains on schedule. This timing would mean that the game could debut as early as the first few months of fiscal 2026 to 27, right after an eventful Q4 FY 2025 to 26. What sets the Dragon Quest VII project apart from previous re-releases is that it's specifically labeled as a remake in company documents, not just an HD remaster or a graphical update. This hints at a more extensive reinvention of the original game, potentially involving enhanced gameplay mechanics or new features, rather than merely refreshing the visuals. A brief teaser even surfaced, showcasing a minimalist yet evocative image of the game's logo against a cloudy background, a subtle nod to the mysterious allure of this upcoming project. Looking at the timeline, if the remake indeed launches in 2026, Square Enix will have rolled out 3 Dragon Quest remakes in 3 consecutive years. This prospect is made even more enticing considering the undeniable success of the Dragon Quest III HD 2D remake. It's becoming increasingly clear that this remix frenzy is far from over. However, before this potential remake sees the light of day, Square Enix is set to release the Dragon Quest I and II 2D HD remake on PC and consoles on October 30, 2025. Fans will undoubtedly be comparing the reception of this title to last year's re-release, which was met with much acclaim. For those curious about the original game, Dragon Quest VII, Fragments of the Forgotten Past was first released on August 26, 2000, for the original PlayStation. In this memorable adventure, players join young Orster along with his companions, Prince Kiefer and Maribel, on a quest that spans from a secluded island to a vast, uncharted world. As they use mystical stone tablets to traverse time, they encounter troubled towns that desperately need assistance, delve into challenging puzzles, and engage in classic turn-based combat with a diverse array of monsters. One of the game's standout features is its expansive class system, boasting over 50 job options, which means you might choose to be a mage, a pirate, or even a shepherd. Unique monsters from across the Dragon Quest saga add even more variety to the gameplay, with some even offering their powers to help your team or track down rare items. So, what do you think? Will this remake redefine the beloved classic, or is it simply a modern facelift for nostalgic appeal? With such ambitious plans on the horizon, it's a discussion worth having. Share your thoughts. Do you see this as an opportunity to relive cherished memories or as a potential pitfall for a franchise steeped in history? Your opinions might just spark the next great debate among Dragon Quest fans. 3. Dragon Quest VII Remake leaked for PS5? Release date, rumors, and what we know. Imagine being transported back to the golden age of RPGs, where the likes of Dragon Quest VII captivated gamers with its timeless charm and unforgettable story. This beloved classic, originally released on the PS1, has been a staple of many a gamer's collection, but its European debut was delayed until 2016, courtesy of the Nintendo 3DS remake, Dragon Quest VII, Fragments of the Forgotten Past. Rumors are swirling that Square Enix is cooking up a new version of Dragon Quest VII, this time tailored for modern hardware, including the PS5. The whispers come from MP1ST, which claims to have gotten its hands on internal documents hinting at the re-release. If true, this would mark the latest installment in the company's efforts to bring classic RPGs to contemporary consoles. Just last year, we saw the release of Dragon Quest III HD 2D Remake, and the upcoming Dragon Quest I and II HD 2D Remake is set to hit shelves on October 30th. While the original report speculates that this could be a complete remake, we're inclined to believe that an upscaled version of the 3DS remake would be more than sufficient for most fans. After all, Square Enix invested significant effort into crafting the 3DS version, and it's hard to imagine that a complete remake would be necessary to do justice to this iconic game. We can't help but feel a sense of excitement at the prospect of these old Dragon Quest games getting re-releases. Dragon Quest VIII, Journey of the Cursed King is another all-time classic that deserves a modern makeover, and we hope that if this Dragon Quest VII rumor is accurate, that one follows suit. As we eagerly await the potential release of Dragon Quest VII on the PS5, it's hard not to wonder when we'll finally see the next installment in the series, Dragon Quest XII. Will it be worth the wait? Sammy, the editor of Push Square, has spent over 15 years analyzing the world of PlayStation, from the PS3 to the PS5 and everything in between. He's an expert on PS studios and industry matters, as well as sports games and simulators. When he's not busy analyzing the latest gaming trends, he enjoys RPGs and is a self-proclaimed Garcher whale. 4. Square Enix remakes Dragon Quest VII, 2026 release and gameplay teaser. An iconic adventure is coming back to life with a modern twist. While fans are already counting down the days until the Dragon Quest I and II HD 2D Remake hits stores on October 30th, and everyone's abuzz about Dragon Quest XII in active development, there's a juicy rumor that Square Enix has yet another classic in the pipeline. What if I told you the legendary Dragon Quest VII, Fragments of the Forgotten Past, could be on its way to a full-blown remake? Here's the scoop. An internal Square Enix document, first uncovered by MP1ST, suggests that Dragon Quest VII is targeted for release in the current fiscal year or early next year. Originally launched on the PlayStation 1 back in 2000 and later ported to the Nintendo 3DS, Dragon Quest VII earned a reputation as one of the lengthiest and most underrated entries in the series. It's famous for its deep storyline, episodic structure, and roughly 60-plus-hour campaign that takes players through different eras and lands. But here's where it gets controversial. The label remake hints at far more than a superficial HD facelift. Could we be looking at reimagined environments powered by modern graphics engines, revamped battle systems with fresh mechanics, or even new narrative scenes to flesh out the lore? Think of how past remakes, like Final Fantasy VII Remake, added voice acting, character expansions, and cinematic set pieces that dramatically shifted the experience. If Dragon Quest VII gets that level of treatment, it might redefine what a JRPG reboot can achieve. And this is the part most people miss. Square Enix has a history of turning beloved classics into must-have collector's editions. Remember the Dragon Quest XI Definitive Edition that introduced new characters and voiced cutscenes? This remake could follow suit, giving longtime fans and newcomers alike reasons to dive back in. So what do you think? Is Square Enix wise to invest in a Dragon Quest VII Remake instead of focusing on brand new titles? Will such a project honor the original spirit or risk overcomplicating its charm? Share your thoughts below and let the debate begin. 5. Dragon Quest VII Remake confirmed? Jason Schreier weighs in. In a surprising turn of events, renowned Bloomberg video game journalist Jason Schreier has stepped into the spotlight regarding the rumored remake of Dragon Quest VII. His recent comments suggest that this remake is not just a figment of speculation, but rather a genuine project in the works. The buzz began when reports surfaced indicating that Square Enix is indeed working on a remake of the classic PlayStation 1 title, Dragon Quest VII, with an anticipated release set for early 2026. While the specifics of the remake's scope remain unclear, fans are eager to learn more details from Square Enix as they become available. Interestingly, the report did not touch upon the highly anticipated Dragon Quest XII, leaving many hopeful that news about it will emerge soon. But here's where it gets controversial. Will this remake live up to the legacy of the original, or will it fall short of fan expectations? What do you think? Are you excited about the potential changes, or do you believe some classics should remain untouched? Share your thoughts in the comments.